Hey guys, and welcome back to your One Room Schoolhouse. If you are new here, my name is Mary Barfield, and I'm a homeschooling mom to a rising first grader and third grader. And in my recent video that I did, where I did a last minute back to school homeschool haul, I shared with you that we were going to be incorporating BookShark language arts into our homeschool this upcoming year and for the foreseeable future if it works out really well for us. And I had purchased levels 1, 2, and 3 for BookShark language arts, and I got a lot of requests through the comments and my emails asking to see inside each of the levels a little bit further. So I've been doing a full series on this, a video series. I'm going to link the playlist down below for you guys if you want to check out levels 1 and 2. This video is my final video in that series, and it's going to be all about language arts level 3. Now, I purchased these levels used from other homeschool mamas off the BookShark buy and sell Facebook group. So my level is technically used, but it is complete. It has all the parts in it that if you were to purchase directly from BookShark right now, you would get everything. The instructor guide is the newest instructor guide that they have on the website right now. The only thing that I am missing, I think, is a few weeks from the activity sheets for the students, but I'll be able to share with you at least the first 3 weeks that the sample online allows us to show you. So I'll be able to show you how that works with the instructor guide. Now, I have not done this program yet. We just got it. We're going to be doing it this beginning of year. I did get to trial level 1 the first 2 weeks with my youngest daughter, and it went really well. So I kind of understand how the program works now that I've gotten into it a little bit, so I can explain that to you. So this isn't quite a review yet. This is a flip through and a first impressions. I'm going to share with you all the components of the program, all the books. I'm going to even do a flip through of the books so you guys can see how what the challenging level of the reading is for your students, so you can see if it's a good fit for you. I'm going to share with you the extra workbooks that go along with it, all that good stuff. But before I turn the camera around and I get into all that, I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about BookShark if you're not familiar with them as a company. So BookShark is actually the sister company to Sunlight. If you're familiar with Sunlight, it's a Christian-based curriculum. They are very heavy with literature. They do history. They do Bible because they're obviously Christian-based. Literature, they do science, they do it all, language arts, whereas BookShark is the faith-neutral version of Sunlight, essentially, is the best way to explain it. They are not technically secular, they are faith-neutral, but that works just fine for our family, works great for us. They provide, again, just like Sunlight, they have history, they have science, they have language arts, they have mini unit studies on other topics. So, and it sounds like they are just creating more and more content every year for curriculum for us homeschooling mamas. Now, like I said, they are literature based. They don't say they're Charlotte Mason, but a lot of their stuff likens to a classical Charlotte Mason pedagogy. So that's why it jives so well with our family. We love reading books. There's so many good books in here. They do copywork, they do narration, they do more of a Socratic discussion method with some of their questions with the readers and such. And I love that all of it is in this instructor guide, holding your hand the entire way through the curriculum. Now, they schedule it out in a 4-day per week schedule. So you have 1 day free to go do enrichment studies, co-op, sports, go to the park and have a picnic, whatever suits your family's schedule. I love that they do it in 4 days versus 5, so you have more freedom and wiggle room. I can bring in additional books if I would like to add into the program, so I don't feel so hamstrung or hogtied or whatever the phrase is. With all that being said, I really do like how they do the schedule in here. I'm going to show you more in depth on that. They have scripted components of this for you, for the teacher. I mean, they make it about as open and go and as easy on the parent as they possibly can. It is like, chef's kiss. So that's BookShark in a nutshell. So I'm not going to ramble any further. We're going to flip this camera around and we're going to get into the actual program itself, do all the flip throughs, all the explanation of how a lesson would work, etc. All right, y'all, here we have everything for level 3 language arts. We have our activity sheets. We have additional workbooks that I'm going to share with you in a second. We also have the instructor guide here, which I will also show you in a second. But first, I wanted to get into the books, which I think are frankly the best part of any curriculum program. So this is the one I'm most excited to share with you guys. So let's go through all these bad boys. So first off, and in no particular order, and oh, something to note, the previous mama who had these put these little pieces of tape on here so that you could easily identify that they were all part of the same level, but also what week that you would be doing in them. And I thought that was such a smart idea. Very type A of her, which I appreciate because I'm very type A, but it'll absolutely keep me organized in a better situation with this. So let's start off first. We've got Brave Kids, True Stories from America's Past, Cora Ferrer. This one looks like a really good one. Now you'll see that this is a true chapter book. It has some illustrations in it, but not a lot. So we're starting to really get into a more challenging level of reading with this level. Next up, we have Tippy Lemmy. This is, again, another chapter book, but it's not so thick. It's pretty easy read, and it does have a few pencil drawings in there. We have third grade detectives, The Cobweb Confessions. These look so cute. You start reading this series in level 2, and my oldest daughter is most excited about these books from when we pulled them all out of the box. Then we have from Clyde Robert Beulah, who I've heard is a really good author, we have The Secret Valley. Again, very simple drawings. We've got some sheet music in here, which will be kind of fun because my girls are learning how to play the piano, so maybe they'll be able to play a few of those songs. We have the Paintbrush Kid, also really beautiful illustrations. Again, chapter book. I think all of these are chapter book, just so you know. The Chalk Box Kid, which I think is from the same series. Then we have The Littles. This looks so sweet. I hope that we enjoy this video or this book, because it looks so cute. And then we have another third grade detectives, The Mystery of the Stolen Statue, which this will be kind of a fun one to read for my oldest this year because we are doing ancient studies, and I feel like this kind of has an ancient tie-in, so maybe that'll be a good one for her this year. The Last Little Cat, which my kiddos love cats, but I am allergic, so we do not have any, but at least they get to read about them. And then Tornado, about a little puppy dog, and we love dogs. If you've been around my channel for any length of time, my husky generally likes to sit behind me in this office when I film on my couch. It is full of hair, and nobody else sits there but her because it's full of hair. We have Jake Drake Bully Buster, and that's one thing I was going to say about these books, is that I really like the ones that they've picked because they either have a historical tie-in that the kiddo can learn about, or they have a really good message that they're trying to get across about values and morals. So bullying is not okay, how to stand up for yourself and others. Marco Polo, speaking of historical, this one's hardback. This is a nice one. I am very excited about reading this one. It's got good illustrations in it as well. Then we have Encyclopedia Brown, Boy Detective. My oldest is very into like detective type books and shows and things like that, so I think she'll really like this one. And then we have the Lumber Camp Library. Viking Adventures, another Clyde Robert Beulah, and this one's historical in nature, of course. Significant amount of words on each page, so I mean, we're getting up there with the challenge of the reading. And last but not least, The House on Walenska Street. So as you can tell, all of these are chapter books. They all have at least a little bit illustrations, so it's getting challenging for the reader, but there's still fun illustrations because we have younger readers here, of course. So that's all the books. Now let's talk really quickly about the extras. So here we have the activity sheets. Now, if you purchase this brand new from BookShark, these activity sheets will be in the instructor guide. Like week 1 sheets will be behind the week 1 schedule and so on and so forth. So they'll be scheduled into the book. But the person I purchased them from separated them out from the actual instructor guide. Her kiddo did the first couple of weeks. And so I went ahead and printed from the free sample the first 3 weeks of an activity sheet so that I could share those with you here in the front. So I'll go through those in a second. And then additional workbooks that the instructor guide recommends using. So for if you want additional direct vocabulary practice, they recommend getting Wordly Wise B. I've actually never seen into one of these books before until I got this one, and I think it's actually a really cool looking program, so I'm kind of excited to try that one out. And then the other one that they recommend, which I do not physically have because my oldest daughter no longer needs additional phonics or direct phonics instruction, it's called MCP Phonics C. I'll put a picture here on the screen for you. I've not looked into this program. I know nothing about it, unfortunately, so that is one thing I will not be able to answer for any questions about for you guys. Yeah, that's all I got for you. I don't know much about it, but they do recommend if you want additional phonics practice at this level, get that book. And then let's take a look at the activity sheets. So as you can see, they come hole punched for you because BookShark is big on using a binder system. They have their own binders even when you buy the big packages that you can get. There is a certificate of completion, which I love because my kids love a certificate of completion. And then this is literally just, week 1 activity sheets, week 2 activity sheet, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So if you watched my previous videos, level 1 and level 2, each week you have activity sheets that are just 1 page front and back. That's it. When you get into this level, they start to become 2 pages front and back. So you'll see you're going to be doing copy work. So A is day 1, day 2 is B, C is day 3 of the program for the week. D is day 4. I cannot talk, y'all. Oh my gosh, this is killing me. So this level is where they introduce something called the diamond notes. And I'm not even too familiar with this quite yet because I'm not using this with my oldest daughter. If my youngest daughter continues through the BookShark program and it's going well, we will ultimately probably use this. So I'll be able to give you more information about it at that time. But from my understanding, it's more trying to describe the whole idea of a main topic and then having supporting, like 3 supporting details for that main topic. So you're using the diamond of a baseball to kind of give you that visual. And so I think that'll be kind of an interesting take on how to do the writing portion of this program. So once I get there, which will be in like 2 years, I'll be able to tell you guys more about it if we're still using BookShark Language Arts for our writing instruction. But that's what a whole week of writing would look like in this level. All right, y'all, let's get into the meat of this program. That is the instructor guide. So some things to note before we pop in here. 1, since I bought this used, the previous owner bound it. It will not come bound for you. It'll come 3 hole punched for you as just a packet, kind of like those activity sheets came as a packet. That's what it'll look like. If you buy the whole entire package and you say I need required resources, they will include the big blue binder that holds all of your instructor guides and everything you could dream of in your homeschool. Some people I think lovingly call the binder the beast. I mean, that's how big it is. So, but this person chose to forego the binder, as you can tell, and they bound it for us, which that doesn't bother me either way. You will also notice that the instructor guides are not labeled by grade. They are levels, level 3, level 2, and then go up to level 4. And I like that they do that because if you're a student, when it comes to reading or writing or grammar or any of it, right, they can be at different levels and then they can all of a sudden speed forward or they might need a little bit more time. Long story short, I don't want a kid feeling like they're falling behind if, let's say, they're in grade 3, but they're on level 2. I like that it's a level and not a grade, so they don't think like that. It makes it less of like a worry about what grade am I using for my language arts. I like that they do that. I also like that they provide age ranges for their language arts. So 7 to 10 is what they recommend for level 3 because you might have some really advanced 7-year-olds or you might have some 10-year-olds that need to be on level 3, So I like that they do that. I know there's some families that actually will do 2 kids on one level of language arts because that's where they are. Like you're meeting them where they are. That's what homeschooling is about. And I love that they do that. So let's hop in here. So since this is used, we are missing a few things. There should be a sheet here that says section 1. And section 1 is what this is, introduction to your instructor guide. So that's this bit right here, talking about what this is, right? Section 2 is your schedule, notes, and activity sheets. That's where all the magic happens. That's what you're teaching your kid essentially from. Section 3 is instructor guide resources. That's all about things and information and resources that you will need to teach this specific level. And then section 4 is called their new user information section. And this, from my understanding, at least as far as I can tell, is the same in every level. If you've seen it once, you've seen it twice. I think I said that phrase right. So that's the front part of it. This is section 1. You have an instructor guide quick start. You know, how does this instructor guide work? The copy work, the rubric, the activity sheets, all that goodness. And then you have an instructor guide overview. Read all this information before you start the program. It'll be super helpful. Again, we're missing a sheet. This page would say section 2, schedule and all that good stuff. So this is what you get when you buy used. Sometimes you're missing some stuff. But so here is what a week will look like in Language Arts Level 3. If you see my previous videos, this will be a little bit redundant for the last 2 levels, but I'm going to kind of give you an overview of what the week looks like if this is your first time seeing one of these language arts flip-throughs and first impressions. So they schedule it out over 4 days. They leave the 5th day free. Now this 5th day could be your Monday, right? Or it could be your Wednesday. Maybe you guys have a nature co-op on Wednesday, right? But basically what you can do, because they only label it day 1, 2, 3, and not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can shift this free day to wherever you want in the entire program. Or you can spread this out over 5 days if that works better for your schedule. Or I know some families will finish up day 4 and then flip to week 2 and start day 1 on Friday. You know, it's all what makes the most sense for your family and your schedule and your learning style. All right, next, let's talk about what you're actually learning about in this program. So you have a section here for spelling. You have a section for handwriting. They don't recommend any specific handwriting here, at least for this program, but they do leave it here if you want to write in, hey, you're doing cursive or whatever it is that you choose to do, you can write that in for a schedule there. They have that additional vocabulary development. You are doing vocab with your reader, but if you want additional direct vocabulary instruction, use your Wordly Wise Bee, and they've scheduled it out for you and you can follow that schedule. Then you have your reader, what you're reading for the week. And then here you have your creative expression, which is what they call their writing program within this language arts. So let's look at, you know, what you would be doing on a day, at least the first day. The first day is always a little heavier than the rest of the days is kind of what I'm noticing. So spelling, you'll learn about the rule that you're learning for spelling and you'll write out your words. You have an activity every week. So they're going to have you alphabetize all your spelling words in like the same in the row. That'll help with dictionary skills actually. They also here have the optional MCP phonics level C book scheduled if you need additional further phonics instruction. And then you wouldn't do any handwriting that day or wordly wise, but then you would read chapter 1 from the Secret Valley, or your child will. Sorry, these are for your kiddos to read, not you. If your kiddo is still not, like, their stamina's not there, like let's say the reading level's good for them, but their stamina's not quite there, I would consider doing partner reading with them. So like I would read a page, then they would read a page, I would read a page, and so on and so forth until the chapter is done. I think that's a great way to approach it. And then you would do copy work the first day, and then copy work application, writing with the diamond notes that I'm going to talk to you about, and that's in the resources portion of this binder, talking more about the diamond notes, and then again writing more with the diamond notes on the day 4. And then down here you have other notes, like things that are worth noting for the week, or you want to write down other notes. I think that's great. They also have these little keys down here, like little image keys. You'll see little icons in your schedule as needed based on what they need to kind of point out. So this pink N, if you see that there, it might say special note to mom and dad. So keep an eye out for that inside here. Once you flip the page, there might be a map point from the readers. Maybe there's something to talk about on the map historically, timeline figures, and then we have timeline suggestions. So they're trying to tie in a lot of things here to the language arts. Now, I'm going to share with you what one day would look like of lessons. And we're going to go to week 2 for that, because week 1 for all the programs generally has a little bit more information included because it's your first week going through the program and they're explaining to you how you're going to use this instructor guide, and it's got a lot more words on it. So for the sake of this video, I thought I'd just skip to week 2 to show you kind of what a normal week would look like. And then you'll see here, we have an icon, map point, chapter 6. So when we go to day 2 under the reader, it'll say, this is where you should point out this place on a map to your kiddo. And if I'm being honest, there should have been a map, I think, included in here. I haven't looked through the whole thing. It might be in here. If not, I'll just use a normal map. But again, this is what you get when you buy used. It's not always completely, you might be missing a page or 2. So let's look at what day 1 would look like. So Whenever you start a new week, you will have this little purple box over here called your weekly review. And this will talk to you about what you're learning about at a high level for spelling and phonics. So the skill is the hard or soft C, hard or soft G, and then sound list, soft words according to consonant sound. Then what you're doing in creative expression for writing. Adjectives and homophones are what you're working on with your copywork application. With your Writing with Diamond Notes Day 3, you'll be doing rank items in order of importance, so that you're going to be writing about. And then rank items with words is what you're going to do on Day 4. Okay, so first off, looking at both these pages, you'll probably notice there's a few things going on with colors, bold words, fonts changing, italics. You'll see some pink here. So let's talk about what it all means. So dark green, that's the beginning of one of your days, right? Day 1, then you have Day 2 here. It's all sectioned out, very nicely organized. You'll see yellow boxes. Anything written in here is the script that you can say to your child, or you can do a modified version of that, summarize it for them if you want to. You'll see there's italics oftentimes in the script or even out here, right? And that's something that you're either doing or your kiddo should be saying back to you. So if you look under here with the readers, it'll say, here's a question you should ask your child after the chapter, and then the answer will be in italics. That's what your kiddo should be saying back to you. You'll also see here that we have prepare in advance. If you see a pink star, it means that it's something that you should be doing ahead of the lesson before it starts, just to make the lesson go a little smoother and faster for you and your learner. Also, something to note, it said under Day 2 that there was a map point. So yes, there should be a map in this instructor guide. I have not seen one yet. Normally I've seen it up front. I will try and find it. Hopefully I have it. If not, I know how to find San Francisco on my map at home, and I'll just share that with her. But I like the fact that BookShark actually provides a map in their instructor guide, but because I bought used, it might not be included. So it's saying, hey, the Secret Valley Chapter 6 is talking about San Francisco. Let's use this as a geography teaching moment. So here's that icon we saw on the initial week schedule. It's saying, go check out San Francisco. If you've purchased new, you will have that map from BookShark, and you can go to E1. It's on a grid, so you go down to E and then go over to 1, and you meet those blocks, and you'll see San Francisco there for the map. So that's kind of some of the things I think are worth pointing out at a high level. Let's look at Day 1. What would a lesson look like with your kiddo, right? So first, you're going to start off with spelling. So you're introducing, since it's Day 1 of the week, the rule of the words that you're going to be teaching your kiddo how to spell. So that's what I really like about their spelling program, is that it's centered around a specific spelling rule. It's very intentional about how they're teaching your child how to spell, because yeah, they'll learn these words, but if they learn the rule, they'll be able to spell other words that follow this rule, hopefully. And also with continued reading and copywork and things like that, their spelling will continue to improve naturally. So the rule is, when the letter C or G is followed by the vowels A, O, or U, it has a hard sound. If they are followed by E, I, or Y, it makes a soft sound. So here, this is the overview. So this is to you, the parent. And then together, you will read this to them. You know that consonants are the letters that make a closed mouth sound as opposed to the vowels, da, 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 da. I'm not going to read that whole thing to you, but basically you're teaching your kid the whole C and G, hard versus soft sound, and when it will happen. So once you've gone through that and you've gone through the discussion portion, then you're going to do an activity. So write your spelling words in 4 lists according to their sound. Hard C, hard G, soft G. So here are the words that you're supposed to write. They've also written them here for you. So what I would do is I would write these on the whiteboard for my child, and then I would have them categorize them based on the rules, the 4 different buckets in their notebook, in their they just have like a normal like spiral notebook. I would have them do that. And that would be it for your first day of spelling. And then it says, hey, if you need additional phonics, this is when we recommend to do pages 13 to 14 in that MCP phonics book that they have. And then here they have the answers, right? They're explaining to you like what it's supposed to be for the different, for the phonics, I think. And next, they have you reading chapter 5 from the Secret Valley. Not you, your daughter or your son will read that. So what does that look like? So that's reading here, this page, that page. And then I think that's it after this. So That's not too bad because there's a lot of pictures in here. And at level 3, hopefully they will have no problems reading that aloud to you. Or if you trust that they can do it, you can have them read it during quiet time and then you can discuss the questions later. Like, it doesn't have to be in the moment while you're doing it. You figure out what works best for your kiddo. And then after they've done that, you're going to pull out your kiddo's activity sheet. I plan to, when I get my activity sheets for my youngest daughter for level 1, I'm going to bind them all in one little book, and it's going to be her language arts book. I'll create a cover for it. But so you're going to grab this week 2 activity sheet A. So we're going to do copy work. So it says to have your child do copy work. They also provide an optional second copy work. They provide this because they realize that kids sometimes get tired at this age. They're still young and they don't want to overburden them. So if like after you're like, hey, let's do on the second day, we're doing copy work application B. If they're like just not into it, they barely have like the willpower to do any kind of writing. They're like, hey, instead of doing this, just say, hey, don't worry about it. Let's grab your notebook and I'm going to have you just do a second copy work for today. So they're providing you additional options for your child because writing can be one of those things that kids either love or they can be super resistant to it. So they're providing you additional options for that. Now, that's what a single lesson would look like the first day of week 2 for this level. Just to kind of give you more information about what the creative expression would look like for the rest of the week. So B would be day 2. So here, day 2, creative expression. So they're saying prepare in advance. If you like, write the following words on the board before you begin the lesson. Like, it's not like you're going to do a huge project or anything. You might write words on index cards. Like, it's not anything crazy that you're going to be doing to prepare for the lesson, but they do tell you, hey, just have these ready to go before the lesson starts. And then what you're going to be doing in this creative application is introducing adjectives and homophones. So they really ingrain the grammar into the writing, which I really like. You're going to read this to your kiddo. Adjectives are descriptive words. What's a homophone? Words that sound the same but have different meanings, all that good stuff. And then you're going to do an activity with your kiddo. So this is where you're going to do the copy work application. So you're going to have your kiddo look at this sheet and they're going to complete week 2 with descriptive words that will make the prompt sound good or bad. So like, what's a good cookie? A yummy cookie, right? That's an adjective. What would be bad? Dry cookie. Maybe you don't like dry cookies. You know, like you're asking your kid to come up with an adjective to describe the word. Then they're like, okay, now I want you to write a sentence about the cookie and one about the book. And then you write sentences using descriptive adjectives. Here you'll see over here, they have the possible answers, right? Your kid for good might do chocolate or yummy, which I said, delicious, prize winning. They could do for bad, stale, old, broccoli flavored cookie. So they give you ideas. If your kiddo's having a hard time coming up with something and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't think of something, they provide answers for you. Now, answers will vary in these kind of situations because it is creative writing. And then day C and day D, which are 3 and 4, you will be doing diamond notes writing. So I haven't, again, looked into this program enough yet because I'm not doing it with my kiddo yet. But essentially here, writing C, again, prepare in advance. Read over Unit 2, Lesson 1 of Diamond Notes before starting your instruction today. That's in Section 3, which I'm going to get into here in a second. I'm probably going to do that right now because, frankly, I haven't looked into this yet, so I can't give a detailed overview of what diamond notes really are yet. But so it's saying, hey, you need to read in advance Section 3, which will explain what diamond notes are. And you might need additional copies of these because your kiddo might need to practice. So, and then they'll give you the script to talk to them about, and then your kiddo is going to then complete the activity sheets, which are these diamond notes, which again, it has to do with a topic sentence and then 3 supporting details. That's what I know about it. And then, then you'd finish up the week. So let's look at Section 3 so you can see what that looks like. Okay, here's Section 3, Instructor Guide Resources. The page behind this, I think, is covered by copyright, so I can't really show that. I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be showing this, but I just want to show this portion to show you that there is information. So what's on this page over here that you can't see is the schedule, what order we are reading all the books in. But as you could tell when I went through those flip through, there were some books that were a little less challenging than others. So you can kind of tell which ones you'd read first at the beginning of the year and which ones you'd read towards the end of the year. So you can kind of get a sense of that. Then here they have a ton of instruction about what Diamond Notes are, how they teach their creative writing program, all that goodness. And then there's additional resources that you need for other activities. That'll all be back here. And you can make copies of these, or you can use the actual pages that they give you. Now, after that, they also have a kind of a, hey, read this before you start this program. This is all about the BookShark way, the natural learning process that they do with language arts, how it's very holistic. You have the grammar and the creative writing, and the writing is from your reading, and your vocabulary is learned from your reading, and then you're doing your phonics and your spelling. It's all very intertwined, and it's a very, what I would consider a classical approach to learning, with copywork and narration and discussion questions in a Socratic method type way. They talk about their writing method, why they do it the way they do it, why it's called creative expression, all about the language arts activity sheets, vocabulary, copywork. I mean, there's so much information in here about the grading rubric if you need to grade for your state or you just want to do it for your own knowledge. There's so much information in here about BookShark and their language arts program and their approach. They also have the scope and sequence here for this level. You can actually print this off for free to do some comparing between levels if you want to before you purchase one. This is on the website. I'll link it down below where you can go get the scope and sequence. I'll also link below where you can get the free 3-week sample for each level. For history, science, language arts, they do them all. If you want to check that out, I'll link it down below as well. But here it's a 36-week program, and they show you what they're doing each week for spelling and phonics, copywork, and then their creative expression. And then we have weeks up to 29 and then 36 here. And then here you just have some phonics rules for you as the teacher, spelling guidelines to help you teach better. There's so much information in here. It really is amazing how much they give you. And then section 4 is the new user information. This is the same in every guide that you will get. It's all about how to use the program, how to set up your binder. It's very logistical type information that you will need in order to complete this program. So that is it, y'all. There is so much goodness in this program. I am so excited to get this started with my oldest daughter. Just for your information, if you're not aware, we are using just the readers and the discussion questions from level 3 for my oldest because she's got a whole other language arts stack that she's doing. However, we will be pulling the spelling words from level 2 because I have that. I will be pulling it from the previous level for how we are doing our spelling and that spelling rule that we'll be doing weekly. I really like that. So I'm going to start her at level 2. So she'll be a year behind in her spelling in comparison to the readers because we really haven't done a lot of direct spelling instruction with her. So I thought it best to start back a level. But that's how we are using that with my oldest. My youngest is doing level 1 as it's written in its entirety. And if that really jives well with her, we'll just keep going up through the levels and keep doing it. So we are super pumped to start with BookShark this year. So excited. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed that flip through. I hope it gave you a lot of good information to help you make a better decision on whether BookShark Language Arts Level 3 would be a good fit for you and your learner. If you do have any questions about anything I discussed in this video, you know to leave those down in the comments. I am so happy to talk to you guys down there. I really enjoy it, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button so you can see future videos coming out from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.